Hello, everyone. Welcome to another week of Gaming Public Radio. Asked GPR Cast. I am Jacob Wagner. Glad to be here, though a little under the weather. Got both of my cohorts with me this week. Luke, Ricky. Hope you guys have been, well, at least enjoying your gaming. since we were talking about actual life stuff before we went live.
Yeah. Luke, want to go first?
Oh, sure. Just about my last week, or
Just
what?
how have you been? Like, because you weren't here the other week, so you go out a couple weeks.
Sure. Last week I was stuck in Omaha. My wife had throat surgery, so I was there with her, and this past week and a half or so, I've been trapped under snow. This Nebraska weather is crazy. Winter needs to stop wintering. So that's how I've been this past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you've been taking all that extra time to finish a bunch of games, though.
Oh yeah, I've been working my way slowly through the Gears of War series. Last week I finished, while my wife was recovering, of course, I finished Gears of War Judgment. This week I've been working on Gears of War 4, or no, excuse me, 5. Just a few comments about Gears of War 4. That's an odd game. It wasn't developed by Coalition. It was developed by People Can Fly. They just made a few weird design choices with that game, like the way you have to select your weapons. With Epic and also with Coalition, it was like the D-pad was, if you push up, you get your frag grenades. If you push one way, you get your machine gun. Another way, you get your shotgun, and then whatever the last choice is. But they just completely threw that out the window. People Can Fly did. It was hard to go from one way, from 1 through 3, to Judgment, then 4 and 5, back to the old way. So I don't know. It's been fun though.
Do you know why they changed?
Why I don't know. People Can Fly. They're kind of a fun studio. They've done Judgment and also Bulletstorm. They've done a few fun games, but they just make weird choices occasionally.
That's weird.
But yeah.
Ricky, how about you?
Yeah, this week mostly really just gaming. Well, got our gutter system on the house fixed today, which I'm really glad I did that because we'll be at some point we'll be putting the house on the market for whenever I get a call to another congregation. So to get those fixed to make it more
Sure.
is that weird? Um so yeah, it just kind of happened and didn't really plan on it. Like, well, I'm glad I got someone out here. But otherwise, I've been still been playing a lot of ESO, um, and watch every day. I've been watching the GDQ speedrun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I started playing Octopath Traveler, uh, the first one, because I watched the speed run of the second game. And it's like, well, now I want to try playing Octopath Traveler again because I had never finished it.
The second one is so much better than the first one.
Yeah, I'm still getting used to it. It's only RPGs I've ever really played have been Pokemon, Diablo 3, and a couple others that are just mixed genres.
Sure.
So I'm still getting used to it. It's pretty difficult. Even just like early on in the game, it's pretty difficult to play.
One has a lot of grinding. Just as a heads up, it's a lot of grinding.
Probably need to do some of that then. Yeah,
If you can find a hat when they pop on up in the enemies. They'll run away right away, but if you can get them, you'll get all sorts of extra XP and money. I don't remember its name.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that I've basically just been playing ESO and
Look it up real
Destiny
quick.
and some other. Huh?
I can look it up real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, and I bought a few, Discord chat. I bought a few games, a couple games, or in expectation of or anticipation of receiving my analog pocket.
Ooh, you got it.
So yeah, so I saw. So is the it was Fantasy Adventure. I was like, oh, this looks interesting. Definitely gonna be basic black and white. You know, I do have Final Fantasy 1 and 2 um for the Game Boy Advance. It's both of them like in
Yes.
one
Dawn of Souls.
cartridge.
Yes.
Yeah, I got that. And then I saw the Bible game. I'm like, what the heck? This has got to be terrible. So I had to buy that. It's only like $8. So that's probably the first one I put in there just to see how bad it is.
Oh, probably so bad.
Yeah. But yeah, their next shipment of analog pockets is February. So maybe maybe end of that month or
Cool.
sometime during that month I'll get it. Really looking forward to that.
Those cat things are just called Cates, CAIT, and then you might have another nomenclature on one side or the other. So
yeah. So that's it.
awesome. I started a coding class through Hank or John Green. I can't remember which one started up that study hall program to kind of just encourage people to learn more or to work towards college credits for a lot cheaper. And so they started up a coding one. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And going all right. It's a little slow, but that's okay. It still takes a long time. Each lesson takes between 4 and 6 hours. So, this first week there were 2 of them, so it was 5 hours and 4 hours. So it was at minimum. Like,
It's pretty intensive.
The end testing for this one, like it had been getting up into all sorts of making different not strings because that's a very specific thing. I don't even remember the word, but where you have, okay, this is going to equal this, and so every time that you use it until you change what that is. So as you use it, and then at the end of the testing, they're just like, okay, just use the string thing that says blah da 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 da, and very basic, and so like you're writing it out every time. It's just like, but you were teaching us all of this other stuff. What in the world is so? But then I've been working on Octopath 2 because I wanted to get back into that because I didn't get to play it all that much because last year when it came out we were we just gone down to Mayo to help see if they can figure out some of my health issues. So it was kind of a distracted thing, and then what came out very soon after that last spring. There were a lot of things that came out last year, and I hopped onto something else pretty quick. So I wanted to get back to it and see where everything was. So that's what I'm working on. Okay. So again, I'm going to apologize for everybody who's listening. I've got some type of cold of some type. I don't know. It's just going right back into my throat. So we'll go from there. We're switching up how, or uh, talking about the news because I just noticed that there were a whole bunch of just like specific game announcements, and then there were things that like talked about games, but it was like more things that could be topics of discussion instead of just news like, hey, this is coming out or this is what has happened and it's just what it is. So I was like, I don't know, to give this a shot to see. So we're gonna start up with game announcements this week. I wanted to throw this one up top because it's something that came out right away now, and it's something that's actually out. The Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown game came out this last week, and it's been received very well as a Metroidvania. Like people are saying, like it's comparable to Metroid Dread. So
interesting.
I definitely want to take a look at it someday, but
yeah, the demo was a lot of fun. It was about a 4 or 5 hour long demo, and
nice.
it's a pretty. I was able to do a few of the accessibility things with it, but it's a nice demo. I'd say the Metro Dread things Metroid Dread's a very good comparison to it. But check it out. There's a lot of fun action, a lot of hard platforming, but it's a very enjoyable game.
Cool. That sounds like a lot of fun. At the beginning of the week, Smite 2 was announced to be coming out. I'm not a Smite person, but
me neither.
Let's throw that out there. It came out from I don't remember what it. Sea of Stars is getting some DLC. So that's exciting. I'm so excited about that. I love that game. And a physical release is coming out in the next couple months. So if you were a backer on Kickstarter, you're gonna get yours before it goes to the open market. But I just got that email today, so that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Interesting.
If you are interested in Resident Evil 2, it is on both Game Pass and on PlayStation Plus now. So that's the new one, not the old game, but the new remade one. So that's a whole bunch of fun. I did not know that this next game was out or was coming out. But Plants vs. Zombies 3 was soft launched in a bunch of countries, UK, Netherlands, Australia, Philippines, and Ireland. It is designed to be more like the first game. As I looked on and kept reading, and it was just like, wow, this looks like a lot of fun. So it's still in like early access type stuff, but hopefully it will make its way to the States sooner rather than later.
I really like the FPS style of that game. Like on the Xbox.
Oh yeah. I never played that one. I have it, but I never played it.
It's a lot of fun.
Did you guys watch the Xbox Direct today?
No, I was unaware there was one.
We talked about it last week.
I just watched
the developer direct.
Yeah.
I watched the highlights of it.
I did not watch that.
What was that, Luke?
I just watched the highlights of it.
Okay.
Just to see gameplay for each game they announced and showed off and whatnot. So probably maybe 20 minutes total of it.
Well, that's like half of what it was. So.
Yeah. The main thing I watched was the Indiana Jones part.
How was that? That's one of the ones I didn't see.
I think that looks pretty amazing. My only thing I didn't care for was that it's going to be in first person, but that's Machine Games' bread and butter. Um,
Hmm.
is first person shooters.
Oh.
So I was a little put off by that. But then you read Twitter banter and whatnot, and they say, well, if you want a third person Indiana Jones, play Uncharted or Tomb Raider, which is true, I suppose, to a point, but it's also Indiana Jones. I'm more of a third person action guy, so that'd be awesome to play it third person, but it'll be first person, so I'll give it a try, nevertheless. But it doesn't look like they're fighting Nazis, like it used to be in the movies that
Oh.
have like the swastika band and whatnot.
Yeah.
Looks like you're fighting generic military men. So,
Oh.
but
You can't go wrong with
it is
fighting
what it
Nazis.
Sorry.
Got to be careful when I said that nowadays. um, I I watched the first part, like a bit of Avowed and Hellblade 2 before I had to go pick up my son from school. The way they were talking about Hellblade 2, they were just like, these awesome vistas and everything. We like so and they were just like painting this picture, and I'm just looking at it, it's just like, I can think of 5 other games that look very much like your game, and you're trying to say that this is like the only one that kind of does this. It's just like, um don't try to take me for an idiot. Like, this is, you okay, you made a great game. I know you took a long time, and you were very proud of what you did. But serious, like,
Yeah.
just if this is the only thing that you can build up about your game, it doesn't sound like you're gonna get you have much new or much of worth in your game. And then I learned later that it is only being released digitally, like Alan Wake 2. So I was like,
Yeah.
ugh. I was glad to see Visions of Mana got a surprise trailer in that, though. I didn't get to watch that one because I was busy afterwards. So
Visions, man. I was just watching earlier this week the Game Grumps playthrough, one of the Mana games.
yes, Mana games. There hasn't been a new one in that series for over 10 years.
It looks like it's open world now.
Ooh, interesting. And there was an ESO. You had talked about the ESO
Yes.
stuff last week. So regale us, Ricky, while I take a break.
Yeah. So today, or the day of recording this, Thursday, January 18th, was the ESO Global Reveal. So no, this year they are celebrating 10 years of ESO, so it's a
Wow,
milestone for
been
them.
out that long?
Yeah, apparently. I didn't start till quite a few years after that. When it started, it wasn't really bad shape, and when I'm back into it, that's when it was better. They stated they have 24 million players. I'm always wary of when developers say that, because like I wonder how many of these are people who like created their character and then haven't touched it in who knows how many years. How many active players do we have? But whatever, 24 million players. They are having this year in April. They're having 2 community events in celebration of the 10-year anniversary. There's one this year, April 5th and 6th in Amsterdam, and the next one won't be until next year, and they said in Birmingham, Washington. So if you're Elder Scrolls ESO fan might want to go to that. Like I will, because I imagine it would be a lot of money, especially to Amsterdam.
Then you could go
All
to
right,
visit all sorts of other places if you went to Amsterdam.
that's true. Yeah. So the new chapter is called Gold Road, and if you've played Oblivion, that will probably sound familiar to you. I haven't played Oblivion, so it's new to me. But when I told my brother about it, he knew immediately what it was. So Gold Road, it takes place around the Gold Coast, Cyrodiil, and Valenwood. And you're venturing into a Colovian region called the Westweald. Uh, so that, if you play Oblivion, you will definitely know Westweald. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's Westweald that will sound familiar to you, not Gold Road. If you played Oblivion, Westweald. And it releases for PC and Mac on June 3rd, and then on June 18th for Xbox and PlayStation consoles. But there are quite a lot of really big new things. One of the big new things they announced was they're for the first time ever they're introducing a new Daedric prince called Ethelia. If you watch the trailer, you see this um basically this woman who's like you're like, who the heck is this character? That's the new Daedric prince, Ethelia. And they are also introducing a new system called scribing. They gave a lot of information about this. So scribing, you basically be able to customize your character builds. And the purpose of it is to tap into the fundamental elements of magic to change ways that a skill interacts with the world, unique effects, and more, they said. So a new ability, there's going to be a new ability for every weapon skill line and a few more.
Jeez.
And they said each of these new skills are called grimoires, which will have customizable elements that you can swap out to suit your needs. Every grimoire has an efficacious base function. So, for example, the new bow grimoire called Vault has you shoot the ground with an enchanted arrow, and you do a backflip out of danger. You can't. That's a pretty big deal for armor, uh, sneaky bow people because you can't do that right now. It's really hard to escape out of danger. And from the video they showed, it's a pretty significant distance. And you can also personalize it. So each script skill has, or not script, each grimoire has 3 script slots: primary, secondary, and tertiary, which allow you to change the abilities specifics. So, for example, if you want to double down on poison and vault, just described, you can set that to the primary script slot. You'll lay a cloud of poison that does AoE damage. You do a back wherever you do a backflip. And you can just imagine how much helpful that can be if you have like 1 or 2 armor sets that focus on poison damage. So, and they said the primary grimoires determine the main effect of the skill. Is resource cost. So, say you're a healer, you can put a healing thing that does something. So, like for the vault one, where you do a backflip, you lay like a healing ring where your allies are. Secondaries, they said, are about individualizing the skill to better match with your build or roleplay. And this has more unique effects that tie into the identity of the parent skill line. So, for example, a unique secondary gives the player a stack of the Hawkeye bonus. If you play ESO, you know what that is, especially if you use the bow. which increases the damage on their other bow ability for short duration. Lastly is the tertiary grimoire, which allows you to add a buff or debuff effect. That's basically it for those 3 grimoires. They also I found this pretty interesting. I don't know exactly what it means, but the person talking about it said that scribing is also an exploration into the origins of magic, including the first mage who discovered how to use magic. So I find that very interesting. I don't think there's really anywhere else about that in the whole Elder Scrolls universe. What that will look like, I don't know. Maybe they're just a quest line of some sort. So that's basically the scribing system that they're introducing. The story of Gold Road, the gist of it is, so the new region is Westfield, which is allied to the Imperial forces in Cyrodiil. Trees from Valenwood are suddenly taking over one of Westfield's zones. You can only imagine how this makes the Imperials. If you played the Necrom chapter, which was last year, Laramil the Wise returns, and also in this new chapter, there is a cult. Of course, there's always some sort of cult involved.
Of course.
When you have a Daedric prince, then there's going to be a cult. But there's a cult called Scions who believe that the new Daedric prince has a connection to the ancient Aliens, which probably means she does. So we might find ourselves getting more lore about the aliens. And somebody did say that we are going to see more ancient alien architecture that we haven't seen before. And a few other familiar characters are returning as well. There are, in addition to a new Daedric prince, there are going to be new Daedra enemies that have never been seen before from a place called Miramore. I don't know if that place is new or if that's a place that's already existed or like has been mentioned but never really explored. I don't know. I don't know much about the Scrolls lore.
Sure.
So that's basically the stuff about the upcoming chapter. A few other minor things. Update 41 is coming in March, which will give us new dungeon DLCs to set us up for the new chapter. Purchase those, or if you if like me, you are an ESO Plus member, then it's free. January 26th, they are going to have a stream where you get to get an early look at those dungeons. Update 43 is in August, and they will have some, aside from bug fixes and things like that, they are in quality of life updates. There's going to be something housing related coming with that update, as well as 2 new companions. Remember last year, if you play ESO last year, they I think, was it last year or 2 years ago that they introduced companions? I think it's last year for the first time they introduced companions, like in Skyrim. But so they're going to be getting 2 new companions this August, but they didn't announce who those are. Okay. So the pre-order is already available, the Gold Coast pre-order. There are, as always, different pre-order versions, depending on if you're a current player or a new/returning player. Like if you're new or returning, you can purchase the pre-order that'll give you all previous 7 chapters in addition to Gold Road when it's released. And of course, there are like also 2 different kinds of pre-orders that will determine like what other goodies you get, like mounts and pets, things like that. And the last thing, they always have a prologue quest for each chapter. So the prologue quest will be coming out sometime in the spring.
Gotta get that pre-patch stuff in, or pre-expansion.
Yeah.
Get the way.
I imagine. Yeah. So March or April is what I imagine.
Cool.
That's the ESO global reveal.
I am glad that they didn't have a Splatoon character put in, like Final Fantasy 14 did.
No, they don't do absurd things like that.
I swear that painter, the way that they had that in the trailer was like, this is Splatoon. They're going off with that craze in Japan. That sounds like a lot of fun though. For Elder Scrolls.
I'm looking forward mostly to the new system scribing. I think this will be a pretty big deal for veteran players like myself.
Good.
I'm sure it's going to work really well. Like whenever they introduce some sort of new change like this, it's always good. The new story I found kind of underwhelming, although the new Daedric Prince is a really cool idea. But I found it just the story overall I found kind of overwhelming, maybe only because I haven't played Oblivion. But
that could be easily remedied.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fun, and I'm sure once I actually get into it, when it starts, the story will be quite good with the Ithalia, the new Daedric Prince, and that jazz.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that wraps up our game announcement stuff for this week. Going on to just like the regular news of gaming and gaming related stuff. Netflix's Pokemon Horizon TV series got pushed back a couple of weeks into March 7th. I think it was originally planned to be out in February, but so if you were looking forward to that, gotta wait a little bit longer. Right, I had that number. Okay. There were some more sales numbers, at least from Japan, that came out. Actually, there were some for the States too that came out today. I couldn't. At least for the States one, I know that the top selling game last year was not Call of Duty or not a Rockstar game. It was Hogwarts Legacy.
Really?
That was the top selling game last year, at least physically.
And it was snubbed at the Game Awards. You notice that?
Yes.
And then when any awards or anything is because of all the, I guess the J.K. Rowling stuff that happened or has happened, but no awards or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was like in and out of the talking scene too. I think it had a few not great I think no, not great. I think it had a few glitches at the very beginning. And so I think that turned some people off outside of the other just J.K. Rowling stuff as a whole. So I don't know. That was an interesting thing. And then for Japan, I don't know that what that one game is, but 9 of the 10 games are Switch games as the best selling things in Japan.
Of course.
10 was Mario RPG at 447,000. Splatoon 3 at 503,000. Dragon Quest Monsters 3, or the Dark Prince, is at 510,000. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe was at 51,000. And of course, Mario Kart Deluxe is still 8 Deluxe is still selling somehow at 617,000 copies. A 10-year-old game as well. Then the Momotaro Dentetsu World was at 795,000. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet at 907. Number 3 is Pikmin 4 at 1.1 million. Number 2 is Super Mario Bros. Wonder at 1.5 million. And you can guess the top one. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom at 1.9 million. So there is a 1.5 million difference between the number 1 selling game and the number 10 selling game.
That's crazy.
Absolutely. A report came out that Halo was possibly actually going to have a battle royale, but then it got scrapped.
Thank goodness.
Yes.
We don't need another battle royale game.
I mean,
and if
Master
there's
Chief
one-
is already in Fortnite.
Yeah. There's going to be another one. It should not be Halo. They already ruined Halo with the TV show. They don't need to do that with the irrelevant and over the word I'm looking for. Overrated video game type.
Battle royales are still extremely popular, though, and so
I know that doesn't mean that they're not overrated.
true, but there's still a lot of people who are actually playing them, though. So it may be overrated, but it still is bringing in a lot of people.
Yeah, I know. I just find it extremely.
Yeah. Take-Two, Rockstar's parent company. This was so silly. Apparently, last year filed a legal complaint against Remedy because their logo looked too similar. And if you didn't see anything about this, Remedy, they both share an R in their logo.
Yeah.
It's just like the letter R cannot be copyrighted.
Right. So stupid.
But it did come out today, I think, that this initial complaint was just a formality. I think to just get the other guy's attention, and then the two teams resolved the situation amicably last year. So
That's kind of a weird situation though, because if my game history is correct, didn't Rockstar publish Max Payne 1 and 2, and then did they develop Max Payne 3? I mean, they're intertwined somehow in that relationship.
yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's like, because they're like, yeah, we're working really closely with them again. It's just like, then what? Why were you concerned about an art? Like, the color scheme was different, the size was different, the style of it was different. Like, I don't understand how this complaint could have come. I just don't.
I just don't know why you'd sue your bed partner. I don't get that. If they develop games for you and publish games for you, why are you gonna sue your friend? It's just kind of dumb.
Yeah. This next one kind of ruffled my feathers. An Ubisoft exec said in basically they basically said gamers need to get comfortable not owning their games because subscriptions are going to be taken off. Now, like, he went into a lot of detail, like, oh yeah, subscriptions, like, for are going all to a thing, even though they're kind of at a standstill. But then he went into like it's gonna be like the DVD, like, and the consumer shift happened because they got comfortable not owning their CD or DVD collections, but it's been slower to happen in games, this transition. So as gamers, you grow comfortable in the aspect of like subscription things, like, you don't lose your progress. If you resume your game at another time, your progress file is still there. It's not been deleted. This is like, he's like,
I saw this really funny meme about that today. It said if purchase is not ownership, then piracy is not theft.
I saw that too, Ricky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet piracy will go up if they just completely.
Oh, absolutely. But you can still like we kind of talked about this with the Best Buy thing the other week, and you can kind of see it even in the consoles themselves, like how they're pushing discless ones. Just even with like the theoretical like new Series X that Xbox is coming out with supposedly. That's yeah, it's all gonna be discless, and it's just like, but like
And
my
make your internal storage more than 1 TB. Because like these days, just one game takes up like
anywhere from a
10th,
quarter to
quarter
yeah
of storage. Ugh.
to 3/4 of a thing. I do
Yeah.
understand like the physical games for the Xbox and PlayStation. They really just become keys to
Yeah.
be able to play it because you have to download the entire thing onto your hard drive anyway before you can play it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which it's just like, come on.
Yeah.
But again, like I made that video. It's like they both have merits to a certain extent. Both digital purchasing and physical purchasing. It's just
Yeah.
definitely something to be concerned about at times.
Yeah. We talked about this 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we overkilled it.
We're not numbering our episodes anymore, are we? So what's the name of that one?
That was episode 2. I still have those ones numbered.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I didn't even name this one because I was like, I can't think of a name for this thing.
This is the one we're
Episode
doing
3.
now.
Yeah, so
Episode 4.
it's just the date. So it's just like, hey,
Well, we'll think of something. Well,
I didn't yet for the thumbtail whatever
the
that thing is
thumbtail,
for the YouTube
the thumbnail.
thumbnail. That yeah. I just put the date on it and it's like, all right, and I put more pictures on things we were talking about.
Yeah, we could just do like in the title, 2 or 3 big things we talked about.
I know.
ESO Global review. Whatever the next big thing is.
I don't know. I'm not gonna worry about this week. I'll go back to it next week if I find a good one. Because this week's is done. I don't want to remake the thing.
AGDQ highlights. Yeah.
I try to make them a little more pizzazzy. Anyway, yeah, I don't think we need to belabor the physical digital thing anymore. It's just I found it as a disappointing way to treat your customers. Like you just got to get comfortable with it. It's like I said, it ruffled my feathers. Anyway,
Stop buying your games. How's that?
the co-founders of Rocksteady left the company a while ago or whatever. This is Sefton Hill and Jamie Walker. And they are now forming a new company called 100 Star Games, and they are aiming to make AAA games with only 100 industry veterans and emerging talents. So they are trying to create a company that only 100 people to make AAA games.
Interesting.
Good luck.
I saw that, and I'm excited for those guys to be on their own again. I really enjoyed their work with the Arkham series with Warner Brothers, but I'm excited to see what they do. I just wonder if Suicide Squad was kind of forced upon them, and that's why they left,
Probably.
or what the case may be. But I'm excited to see what they do. It kind of reminds me of the Initiative for Xbox, kind of like all-star development team. That's what this reminds me of.
Sure.
Is this 100 people thing. So I think it'd be cool to see what they do.
I know there were a couple old school Blizzard higher ups that have done the same, where they've gone off and created a couple different companies, and they're most of the way through making a couple games. One of them was basically a StarCraft clone with a slightly different focus or style, I should say. It's StarCraft again, but not StarCraft. And then I don't know if this was today or yesterday, but there was a investor Q&A for Square Enix. If you saw their earnings last year, their earnings total did not reach their expectations, which is the is a thing that you need to know before all of these other things. Like, their numbers overall were down. Probably because of Forspoken, and I think Balan Wonderworld came out in this fiscal year as well. And both of those games were supposed to be high sellers. They both flopped really hard.
Was Outrider included with that group too?
Probably.
So that was put out on Game Pass for like the very first week of release. So I mean, that would affect sales
Yes.
totally. So
So they're like doubling down. Like, Final Fantasy 16 did meet their sales expectations. It just was not enough to bring them out of the hole that they were in. Because there were a lot of people like, "Oh, Final Fantasy didn't sell," because of a couple comments that they made that about the fiscal year, and it's just like, no, 16 did what it needed to do, so don't worry about it. In fact, we're going to keep doing things for the first 18 months of the game. We got DLC planned, or hopefully going to bring it to PC. So that's a good thing to know, that if you don't have a PS5 and want to play FF16 in the next year, you'll be able to. But because of this, like, they are planning to slim down their lineup and focus on higher quality titles. So they are trimming some of the fat, because they were throwing out money left and right to games to just overpopulate the market. But then they are expecting sizable earnings this quarter. I don't know why. It not like the most anticipated game in years is coming out again with Rebirth.
Yeah.
They're looking into some more cross-media adaptations of Final Fantasy. Their last time doing that was Advent Children, and then before that was Spirits Within. Actually, no, never mind. Kingsglaive for 15. Then they had an anime kind of with it. Then it was Advent Children. Then it was Spirits Within. So I think Kingsglaive and the 15 stuff did well-ish. So they want to bring people into the franchise through other means.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest X online has only been available in Japan, and they said that we are readying a variety of initiatives for it that we look forward to announcing. So there are people who are just like, are they going to finally bring it out of Japan? So, like, translate it and everything. So there's a lot of people who are excited about that. But then for their, like, again, going to their internal development, they're going to focus on a select high quality titles, not just major titles, but take on new challenges. Okay, that one, to diversify the portfolio. They jumped on what is that image thing that came with all the monkeys?
Monkey Ball?
No. It wasn't crypto. They got into crypto too.
the NFT stuff.
Yes, they jumped onto NFTs so hard, and it bit them in the butt. and now they're jumping onto a whole bunch of AI stuff. And they're just like, guys, stick to games. Just stick to games. They want to enable devs to expand their skill sets and then consistently produce high quality titles. Obviously, you're going to say that type of stuff to your investors.
Yeah.
But these things do bring a couple of interesting things. Like they're definitely wanting to push forward their Final Fantasy series. Like that has not dropped off. They're trying to do more with Dragon Quest, which is another one of their big titles.
Yeah.
They're going to be bringing different media, which is really cool. Because, like, Advent Children and Kingsglaive, they weren't the best movies, but they were enjoyable. So, I don't know. I think that's there's a lot of interesting things that were stated in there. And then Destiny 2 stuff. Which one of you wrote that one?
That would be me.
Okay.
I think I'm the Destiny guy here. Yeah, just real simple thing. I got an email today. This, if you are a Destiny 2 player, keep an eye on your email. If you play regularly, that is. If you don't, then you won't care at all. But you should have received an email. It'll say something like, or something along the lines of your progress in the current season of the Wish. So it'll be easy to ignore. I almost did, but in that email is where you can vote for this year's Festival of the Lost Armor ornaments for each class. So if you remember, this time around this time last year, they had us vote for the Halloween event. By the way, had us vote for either like ornament set that looks like a beetle or one that looks like a spider. And warlocks, beetle, and then the hunters and titans got the spider armor, which looks awesome. So this year it's going to be either vote for good wizard or evil wizard, which I found very interesting. Usually they, other than this like Gundam wing looking kind of costume or ornaments, and doing like a lot of creature stuff. Like a couple years ago, they did dinosaurs, which is really cool. And then of course, either an insect or an arachnid for last year. So good wizard or evil wizard. I voted evil for both warlock and hunter, and good wizard for titan. For the evil designs tend to look the best for some reason. Just like the dark side,
they can go all out.
Yeah, dark side, they get the coolest powers. So of course I want to, be on the dark side. Just I don't know why that's why people
They have
in
cookies.
games stuff, just being evil is cooler. So you get to dress cooler and you get cooler powers and get to be strong. So yeah, that's just a small thing for Destiny 2.
Awesome.
But I mean, in the community, there's kind of heated debates about what one's the best.
Of course.
Yeah. But so I guess now we'll go into the AGDQ highlights.
Since we talked about that a bunch last week, so
yeah. So I'll start. Just give you a rest, Jacob.
Appreciate it.
So yeah,
they just they crossed 1 million.
Yeah. I've been watching.
It's on my back. Yeah.
Yeah, they're at 1,073,000 plus.
Yes.
For donations for the Prevent Cancer Foundation right now.
We're not watching Halo in the background while we're recording this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, ooh, yeah, you got Halo at 10 o'clock. I'm gonna be doing this. but I've been switching screens every time. So. Yeah, so just some highlights. Well, thanks, Jacob, for bringing up the subject because I before, like I said last week, I'd never heard of
Mm-hmm.
games done quick. Um, right now they're calling it awesome games done quick for
Yeah,
some
it's
reason.
awesome games done quick in January, and summer games done quick in the summertime one. These are their big
Oh,
events. Like this is awesome games done quick. They are, as a organization, games done quick, but this is awesome games done quick
yeah.
as a thing going for uh Prevent Cancer Foundation.
Okay. So I got some highlights as well as Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't put in my notes on here, but one of the highlights was somebody, I guess a streamer was interviewing somebody who has an AGDQ fellowship at Prevent Cancer Foundation,
Oh, cool.
and she was just basically talking about how it benefits her personally, with salary and stuff, but also kind of some specific things of what the money is going towards.
Oh yeah.
For example, she focuses a lot on skin cancer, and I wish I had taken notes about the things she talked about, but there's like something that was like super obvious to the people in her field that has to do with skin cancer. Nobody's researching it, and like, oh, this is obvious. Why aren't we researching it? And she's like, exactly. And she mentioned how there's a lot of money goes towards um, cancer treatment, which of course is fine, but
Mm-hmm.
preventive cancer is
It's important.
underfunded.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very important because you don't want to only treat it; you also want to help prevent it, right?
I think I saw the end of this interview.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, and it just
Well,
like and the interviewer, like, he got extremely emotional because it's just
yeah,
like, oh, this thing that I've been doing for years that to help is actually doing this much
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So for that reason, I thought that was really first highlight that. Oh yeah, the money is actually doing stuff. It's going somewhere, and not just helping people, these researchers live, but also it's helping them do actual research. So that was really good. But so other more fun highlights. Um, I really liked, and there's really good sportsmanship throughout the whole thing, but especially I noticed during the Metroid Dread
Mm-hmm.
run yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
So there were two runners racing against each other to see who would finish first, and when one of them was having controller problems, they're paused his game to help him out instead of just taking advantage of his opponents.
And then the game ended with them 2 seconds apart.
Yeah, 2.2 seconds apart. I remember 2.2 seconds, crazy. Um, I really like the Pokemon Crystal co-op. Um, Pokemon Crystal is near and dear to my heart. It's my favorite Pokemon game. Just watching them is, of course, this is my very first GDQ at all.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my first time seeing a lot of things, but that what was the category? Randomizer,
Yes.
item randomizer.
Yes.
So that's just awesome.
You can have
And
item
there's
randomizer. You can have where the Pokemon are randomizer.
right,
It's
yeah. I think the starters were randomized too because they had
Mhm.
Megaton, Victory Bell, and I forget the other one. But they had a couple of really fun conversation things. But one, of course, one of the controversial ones was, are the legendary dogs or cats?
that is the ongoing one.
Yeah, yeah. So that of course came in, and um I also, so I think it's also, yeah, yesterday I watched Doom 2016.
It was late last night.
Yeah, I love Doom. I've been playing that. I was like 9 years old. Probably shouldn't play it when you're 9, but My dad let me, so um yeah, on the PC. So watching that was just awesome. It was like 2.5 hours. I think he finished it in like 2 hours 27 minutes, I think. But the really cool thing with that, a couple of cool things. Well, cool and funny, but the coolest thing, they had an id Software developer on audio who actually worked on Doom. Hugo Martin. He's like
Oh, yeah.
one of the leads, I believe.
Hmm.
He was just giving some background stuff into the game's development, and saying how, oh yeah, we developers, we love you speedrunners. Like it, like manipulating and breaking the game doesn't tick them off or anything. There are some two really hilarious things. If you know Doom, you know that these statements are perfect. Two questions. Oh, they asked him several questions, but my two favorite questions they asked him was one. They asked him if there was a point when they were discussing, they as in the developers were discussing whether or not. No, sorry, they didn't ask him this question. Just telling them the point when they were discussing whether or not it's realistic to walk out onto the surface of Mars. Ultimately, we decided who cares. Like, yeah, it's Doom. Who cares, right? Then that's just perfect. And then this was the greatest one. The speedrunner asked how they went about balancing the BFG, which friendly is what that stands for. How they went about balancing the BFG in the game, and his answer was, "We don't." It's like, yeah, it's OP. It's OP for a reason. It's just the most perfect response, and I imagine it's true. It's like, yeah, we don't balance that gun.
Oh no.
So that was great.
So there are actually quite a few developers over the years, and even this year, like there was another one during the Celeste run, who was actually sitting on the couch.
Oh,
Because the Celeste run was not the original game, but a complete mod of the game. And they were asking like, do you care if the players do this to your game? They're like, no, we love seeing what all the communities do with our game. It's really cool. And so it was fun to hear some of his like just from the couch things. And I know in the past, when Banjo-Kazooie has been played, they love to call up Grant Kirkhope, the music director for Banjo-Kazooie, and just have him on the phone talking about some of the different things. So
yeah,
those are some awesome things.
yeah. And I would say Halo Combat Evolves to highlight, but I gotta be here.
Yeah, we're watching it. That was the same for the Glitch Expo for Super Mario Maker 2. I was like, prepping for things. I want to watch this. I'm also trying to put kids to bed.
Well, yeah.
I'll watch it again later. I'll do the two that were not like my high end first, so I'm gonna go out of order a bit. I don't know if it was yesterday morning or the morning before. It's basically like the Saturday morning cartoon set a block, and I think it ended with Bluey, the new Bluey game that just came out, and the runners and the people that were right behind him on his couch, they went into it like perfectly, like, and they had fun with it. It was so wholesome. It just like they were putting on funny silly hats as they were going between scenes, and it just it was just a heartwarming thing to watch. And then last night, Taskbot doing Super Metroid. I always love watching the Taskbot. It's the time assisted speedrun. Basically, it's a robot running the game, and they do things that you could just never hope to, and it's just like, this is so fun to watch. Then the two things that I they were just fantastic. One of them was there's a dog named Peanut Butter. He's a Shiba Inu, Um, his owner taught him to speedrun a game, and that game is called Gyromite. It's literally just like like a single button game where the character's just walking forward and you hit a button. Actually, two different buttons. One of them will get one color thing down. One of them get another color thing down. And he just like was using treats like and button, and button, and sit.
I saw that. I had that on in the background. I was like, "What the heck is this?"
It was
So
fantastic. This like,
yeah,
and the dog stayed with it. I couldn't see it through to the end, so I don't know how the if he got a personal best or not, because he was ahead on his but before I left, so he was doing good. And then right before TaskBot last night, there was a guy who beat Mario 64 in the 16-star run, which is already in itself a difficult thing because you got to glitch into a couple of the Bowser levels after you get that 16th star. But he did it using drums, a full drum set.
Crazy. Oh my gosh! And for those listening, he's an actual drummer.
Yes.
Not just some gamer playing, fake drums. He's an actual drummer. Probably electric drum, I guess is what it is.
It was just like, oh, and then he did a little concert during the final credits.
Yeah, that was
he just went for it, like, and it was just like,
yeah.
he is an actual, like, that showed that he was an actual drummer, and it's just like,
yeah,
this is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely ridiculous. I have not been able to watch nearly as much as I wanted to, because I've had to either have it off or have it muted, because I've been either writing or doing class stuff, so it's just like I can't concentrate with this on. But like, you can always go back and watch the VODs. I do know that the I don't know if it was Resident Evil 3 or 4, whatever runner did that one. He did it without getting hit once, and he popped off afterwards. Like,
I saw that.
Yeah, and then running down the aisle.
Yeah, saw like a replay of that, whatever.
Mm-hmm. It's just like, that is
sorry about that.
Cool.
I don't know why I did that.
When people can do that, it's like, holy crap! You did this entire, and it was on the hardest difficulty too, I think.
Wow.
You did this without getting hit. Holy crud. But no, if you haven't seen, there's still a couple more days left. If you want to get some T-shirts like the one, this is AGDQ last year. That's that shirt. You can get some merch that help go donate towards the stuff as well. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, there is one shirt I want. There's only one shirt I want, and it's one that they won't ship out until like May. And if my whole job situation, I don't know if I'm going to be here in May.
I have to send it to your parents' house or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. I could just send it to my brother. Yeah, maybe I'll do that.
Yeah, most of the ones for the either GDQ, they will not ship these right away because there are going to be so many orders from a week long of holding on to these things that it takes them forever. Because they will just go through one at a time, probably printing, and so they'll just hold that back. And ship them all together. I have 3 that I would like to get: the TaskBot one, the Mega Man and Dog one, and the one of the actual, like, saying, hey, this is 2024 AGDQ. So, all right, I think we'll just go out of the round table. We were doing so much better than we did even last week.
Yeah, well, there was a lot last week on the agenda.
It's true. I might have to start cutting down some of these things so that we don't have nearly as much to talk about, but
yeah.
Question I thought was like, you know what? Let's do this. What's your favorite OST from a game? That is the original soundtrack for those who do not. But what's your favorite
Oh,
music?
Luke, you first. We've talked a lot.
Sure. Well, Ricky, you mentioned Doom earlier. And so the Doom 2016 soundtrack is amazing. I really like Mick Gordon, the stuff that he did for that soundtrack. If you guys don't know me very well yet, that's okay. But I'm a huge nerd, so I like to watch. I like to watch like the GDCD conferences where they talk about how they do stuff in games. And
Oh yeah.
there's an awesome video that Mick Gordon has where he goes in depth of the different synthesizers he uses to get those sounds he makes. It's really awesome. It's you can find it on YouTube if you're interested in it.
Cool.
Um, and also anything Bear McCreary composes, he's a great composer. He did the God of War 2018 and Valhalla games.
Oh.
Um, he also did the Order 1886 and maybe some work on the Bloodborne soundtrack. But he's an awesome composer. But I guess my favorite soundtrack is probably Bloodborne, and then 2016 Doom. Just that the fight for Ludwig and the Holy Blade. That's an amazing piece of composition. So those are probably my favorites. And Last of Us, of course. I just love that rustic guitar banjo they have.
Ricky, what do you got?
I can't decide between Halo 3 ODST or Halo Reach. Even though I don't consider Halo Reach canon. Because Halo Reach, they retcon the book with the same, the Fall of Reach, the book, and it's stupid. But anyway, I don't know. Halo
You
3
don't have
ODST
opinions.
or no, I don't. Yeah, Halo ODST and Reach, the big surprise is Marty O'Donnell and Michael Salvatore. That was a surprise with me at least. Those two specifically have, they have different I would say different melodic motifs in their soundtracks because everybody knows the Halo theme. Oh, right. But Marty O'Donnell in both of those purposefully got away from those melodies because no, sorry, not in both of them, just Halo Reach, he got away from it. Because this is before they find the Halo ring, which is where you get that enchanting. Halo 3 ODST, it's not in there very much at all, but at least in Halo Reach, it's not in there at all. They're both very somber, of course, because ODST is, I mean, you're playing as ODSTs, and situation is very dire. It's not bright at all. It looks like humanity is going to lose the war, therefore become extinct. And Halo Reach, it's about the fall of Reach, so the music is going to be somber. And like I remember, there are times. So I read the book The Fall of Reach way before the game came out because it was published way before. I think the same year that Combat Evolved was released, 2001. And it's a very the loss of the planet Reach is tragic in a military strategic sense,
Yes.
but it's also a very emotional loss for the Master Chief. And so when you read that story, and then for the first time you listen to the music, that goes with the story of the entire planet Reach being glassed, and John, the Master Chief, thinking every single Spartan, literally his whole family, is dead. Um, Even though they're not all dead, most of them are, but not all. Um, so you listen to that. There's like times there've been like some times when I've gotten like to tears because of just how beautiful that music is, and considering the story that's being told, and just how personal it is, especially when you read the story. So I guess with that, I'd say Halo Reach is my favorite.
You talked yourself into it.
Yes, I'll talk more about that than ODST. So I'd say,
There you
even
go.
though I don't consider the game canon.
So I've got a few, and they are probably more on the lighter end instead of the heavy somber things that you guys are both going after. That's the mood I'm in right now. I'm gonna throw this out there. Like, there's a lot of fun Sonic ones. Adventure 2
Oh yeah,
is it sticks in my head so much. Danger is lurking around every. So there's that. And then I am always a sucker for Kingdom Hearts. Like, not when they're doing the Disney stuff, but like even just literally like the menu music of especially like 1 and 2. It's like bum ba-dum ba-dum ba-dum. And of course their main theme songs are always fun. Of course, that might just be nostalgia hitting because those hit when I was a young teenager. So there's that. But then I really do like a lot, most anything that Grant Kirkhope writes. Because he's like the one who did Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie. It's like it's light and fun. Honestly, going back to the Kingdom Hearts, I'm just gonna say it's probably anything from Square, because most of their stuff is just way too good. But yeah, no, then those are probably mine. Like, just iconic, a lot of things from when I was younger, but it's just they got in my head and they're still there. So I think I'm gonna go with that.
If I were to add a third, it'd probably be the Taken King or Destiny 2.
Those
It's
ones
just
are pretty good.
dark. Yeah, it's dark, low brass awesomeness. Dun, 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 dun. Awesome. I love video game soundtracks. They tend to be orchestral these days, and I love it.
It is.
I love classical music, so
They're either orchestral or like bit tune.
yeah.
So did either of you guys play Mario Brothers Wonder?
Yes, we did as a family.
The musical levels.
Yeah. My daughter is thinking of being a music major in college. And so, I mean, like, that's just kind of like up her alley. So,
Oh.
yeah, she loves the soundtrack and those levels. Yeah,
It was
definitely.
literally like the second or third level, you get your first one, and it's just like, what? Singing piranha plants? What?
Interesting.
I'll send you a video of it. It's just fun. We could probably keep going on forever about soundtracks and games.
Oh yeah, don't get me started. I mean it.
I think that about wraps it up for us for this week. Gaming Public Radio is made possible currently due to our love of gaming and the desire to do more for this community. If you'd like to support us, please hit that subscribe button to see everything new when it comes out. And we will get new stuff. I promise I will get there. I will get there. I will become more regular. You can also find GPR Cast now on your favorite podcasting platform. And yes, I did forget to audioify last week's. I realized that today. It's like, I never... Because I was having issues with getting some of the YouTube stuff edited. I completely spaced on the audio. I will get it. That doesn't take long to rip. Anyway, you can find Luke, Good Fight Games podcast, Good Fight Games 618 on YouTube, and Good Fight Games on _ on Twitter. You can find Ricky with a W Righteous Lutheran on Twitter and a W Righteous Lutheran on Instagram, and you can find myself at Hallowed Foxmoon on any platform. Thanks so much for watching. If you can find more content for excellence in gaming right here on GPR. Till next time. Bye-bye.